Losing a child, my story, my pain, my journey. Sometimes people will ask, can you ever get over the loss of a child? Losing a child is one of the most painful experiences in my life. I will never get over the death of my child. I will survive it. There's so many reactions that as a parent you will feel and experience. My reactions after the death of my child, or when the day I received that call that my child had passed away, I was in disbelief. I was confused. I was in denial. I had intense shock. I had pain. I was sad. I was angry. I was guilty. I had fear in me. I've been learning tips on how to cope with all these reactions. The first strategy is prayers. I pray a lot. I thank God every day. Because of Him, I am able to share my story to the world. I am able to talk to other parents going through the loss of a child. I do exercise a lot. I've been hiking, I've been dancing, I've been running, I've been riding my bike, especially during the summer. I started writing a journal. Every day I take a pen, I get my journal, and I write my experience of the day. I write how I feel, where I went to, what I did, who I met. So these are some of the tips that are helping me. I've also been attending grieving groups of parents or different groups that helps you to cope with grief. Friends and families, they've been of great support to me. Sometimes you hear someone ask a question, is there a timeline for grieving? When should you stop grieving? My answer is no. No, no, no. There isn't a specific timeline to grieve. Grief moments comes like waves. It's like when you're in the beach or you're standing by an ocean. When you see that wave coming, it's unexpectedly. That's how I feel when I am grieving. There's no time for grief. There's not a particular time. It comes sometimes when you're happy. You may be having fun somewhere. My experience, when I'm dancing, when I'm in a party, when I'm somewhere celebrating with others, I feel that guilt of happiness. It triggers me to mourn. It triggers me to cry. When I'm alone, loneliness triggers my grief. When I'm alone, I think about my daughter. I start to talk to myself. What if she was here? The things we should have been doing, where we should have been going. The last call we made. Just a lot of memories. Birthdays. Oh, you want to talk about birthdays. When it's her birthday, I cry. My daughter My deceased daughter and my son, they have the same birthday, but 10 years apart. I am happy for my sons on their birthday. I cry for my daughter because she's not here to celebrate their birthdays together. When I hear of music, there's some certain music that triggers my grief. Music that I recall she loved when she was here on earth. Music that I know she loved to dance. Music that reminds me of my daughter, makes me cry. Photos. The days that when I look at her photos, I cry. Memory lane. The times that when I'm driving or I'm going somewhere or I travel somewhere that we used to do together, we used to go together, it makes me cry. Graduations. Whenever I hear of graduation songs, I cry because I think of her. I think of her graduation. I think of how excited she was when her little sisters had their graduations. I think of how she'll fly over to the state that we're living a week in advance just to prepare for her siblings' graduation parties. Smells. When I smell her clothes, I cry. When I smell a perfume, a scent that reminds me of her, I cry. Holidays. No matter what holidays, I cry. It hurts. There are tips that I'm using to help me cope with grieving. Seeking counseling, learning new hobbies, visiting her gravesite. I go sometimes with friends, we clean it up, put flowers, sit down there. I talk to her. I ask for medical help. Crying sometimes helps me. It takes out the stress. It clears my mind. Do not compare grief. It's not a good idea to compare grief. I recall when my daughter passed away, some told me, I think you should go to work next week, a week after she passed away. Some friends said, I think if you go back to work right away, it's going to help you cope. Some said, I have a friend that lost the son a few months ago. They went to work right away. Do not compare grief. We should not compare because we all grieve differently. And again, there is not a timeline for grieving. Each individual, each parent, each mother, every person grieve differently. To every parent going through the loss of a child, my prayers are with you. I have been taking small steps. I take one day at a time. I honor my child. By me talking about her to you, my listeners, I'm honoring my child. I want people to know my child. That's why I started a YouTube channel, which is called One Day, One Mother. I talk to other grieving parents. We consult each other because I know exactly what a parent is going through. I know exactly what it feels when you lost a child. I have learned a lot going through this process. What I know now, psychotherapy. Psychotherapy is the treatment of a behavior disorders, mental illness, or any other condition by psychological means. Losing my child, I have experienced it, and I am still experiencing it every day. PTSD. Most parents who have lost a child may experience anxiety, nightmares, or unwanted memories that will increase pain and depression. I, for one, am going through this. I recall there was a time, a few months after the loss of my daughter, I was walking in the living room, and I was calling her. I was calling her name. My hands were up in the air, and I thought I was calling to touch her. I was lifting my hands were up. I was trying to grab on my daughter. I was calling, Cynthia, Cynthia. I recall there was a time I was driving when I was able to drive myself. I'll get to a stop sign or a red light, and when it changes to green lights, I will not move. I will just stay there. I didn't know what was happening until my brother-in-law told me, you need to go talk to your doctor about what is happening with you. And guess what? I was diagnosed with PTSD. Counseling is focusing on specific issues and designed to help in a particular situation. My particular situation is the loss of my daughter, is the loss of my child. This has helped me a lot, and I will recommend it to other parents going through the loss of a child. These are some of the few things I now know, and I'm happy to share. It is well, it is well, it is well. I hope you will find my message useful. Please hang in there. This is what I call our new norm. My life changed from the day I received that call that my daughter is gone. My life has never been the same. I called it my new norm. A lot of parents who've lost their child are going through a new norm, a new situation, a new life. And this is something that we are going to have in our life until the day we die. I thank you for listening to my message. I thank you for sharing my message. I thank you for your comments. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, share, hit that notification button, because I am ready to share my story. I have a lot to share. Again, this is Debbie from One Day, One Mother. Every family has a story. Welcome to ours.